Today what we are going to discuss about is domicile. So when we talk about domicile, it is a connecting factor which links a person with their particular legal system and of his domicile and his personal with his personal law. So when we talk about this domicile, which is ascribed by the application of English law, and it is considered to be a permanent home of a person. And when we talk about this domicile, no person can acquire more than one domicile. A person can acquire more than one resident or a home or a nationality. So now we'll see about the basic principles of domicile. No person can be without a domicile. No person can be at the same time for the same purpose having more than one domicile. An existing domicile is presumed to be continued unless until it is proved that that particular person has acquired a new domicile. And again, this domicile which will confer the person a civil status, which means a stand of proof which you can establish before the any forum of a court or before any forum for the jurisdiction. So when we talk about, so next when we talk about, it is solely determined in accordance with the English law. So this domicile concept is usually when we talk about is evolved from the English law origin only. So these all will be the basic principles of domicile. And when we talk about this domicile, which is again be categorized into three types. One is domicile of origin. So first we'll see about the domicile of origin. Domicile of origin, which is basically at the time of birth of a child, whoever is there, so either a father or a mother's domicile, which will be traced back to that a particular child. Suppose if the child has been abandoned child, then whose domicile which will be traced back. So if it is a abandoned child, the one who found the child in the particular country, then that particular person's domicile which will be traced back. So next when we talk about in the case of a domicile of a adopted child. So the adoptive parents, a father or a mother's domicile which will be traced back. So that is what a domicile of origin. Again, that adoptive or abandoned child until attains the age of 21 years. So till then, the whatever their adoptive parents, that domicile which will be traced back. So after attaining the age of majority, we may say that this person's domicile which will be again decided by their own choice. So according to the UK matrimonial domicile and UK domicile and Matrimonial Proceedings and Costs Act 1973, which talks about this section 3, which exclusively talks about the domicile, what is meant by domicile and domicile of birth, everything which will be talked of. So next category of a domicile which will be of a domicile of choice. So here domicile of choice, we may say that it requires two essential conditions, or when we talk about two factors which is forms a part of the essential. So first is a factum of actual residence, or you may say it as a factum. And next one is the requisite intention, which means an animus. So these are the both requisites when you want to acquire a domicile of choice. Suppose if it is an independent person can acquire a domicile of choice, but in that it is not my domicile origin, but where I was moving out of my origin country and where I was going to some other country for, it may be a study or employment purpose, or it may be when we talk about in the case of where I got the job opportunity or employment or education, or for some purpose, so where they will be staying for some specified period of time. So in that way there should be a specified period of time only. So in that way where I can acquire this domicile of choice, and it is prescribed by the external necessity. So as per your law, you already having your domicile country residence, but when you want to acquire a domicile of choice, you can't acquire more than one domicile. So that was a basic principle which is already there. So in that way, you need to be acquire. That means, so you why you are leaving that origin country and going back to your domicile of choice country. So why you want, for what purpose? So everything now in the case of a visa formalities, you may come to fulfill all those, and where you'll be going to stay there, what was the purpose of staying there, so everything you have to comply with that. So that is what domicile of choice. And third category, so before moving on to third category, there is a difference between a domicile of choice and domicile of origin. So when we talk about domicile of origin, it is as prescribed by the law itself. So domicile of choice is when the person have an intention to leave that particular country, not for a permanent period. So it means domicile of choice. And domicile of origin, lost by intentional acquisition of another one. Suppose I don't want to come back to anymore to my origin country, means then where your domicile of origin will be cancelled there itself. So where you're already acquired your domicile of origin country, choice country itself, your origin status also will be conferred there itself. So when we talk about origin, it will be restored. So once you come back from the choice country to your origin country, then it again comes to life. So when we talk about in the case of domicile of choice, it will be jumps from one country to another. So wherever you are going, so there you have to establish a residence as well as your intention. So in that way, you'll be keep on moving it. So third category will be of a domicile of dependency. So when we talk about in this case a domicile of dependency, usually it will be under the common law. It can be classified into three categories. One is a married women, children, and mentally disturbed. So especially when we see in the case of a domicile of dependency, prior to the UK Domicile and Matrimonial Proceedings and Causes Act 1973, which was came into effect on 1974 only. So prior that, a married woman is no more independent women and all. So she will be almost, once she conferred a marital status or once she performed a marriage, means she is now an independent of her husband solely. So that was the prior concept. So after this act which comes into effect 1974 onwards, that status was being vice versa, which means a married woman status is no more a dependent. Now she can have a status of independent also. So that is what our first category. And why we'll say the second category is a child, because the child is not attain the age of maturity, is still considered to be a minor. So minor child would always back up by their or parents, whoever their biological parents or adoptive parents, their domicile which will be traced back until that child attains their age of a maturity. So still that they will be under the concept of dependency of their parents. So a third category will be of a mentally disturbed. Again, this person cannot have a sound mind to desire their own. So in that way, they have to depend on somebody else to take care of their things, or to take manage their estates or even the properties. So in that way, these persons will be considered to be a dependency. So these people will be, whatever their adoptive parents or guardians is there, their domicile which will be traced back to their particular persons. So what is the difference between nationality and domicile? Nationality, which gives a relationship of a man and his nation. But when you talk about in the case of domicile, it denotes simply where you are establishing your residence in that particular country. So nationality, when you talk about, nationality can be acquired through domicile, but domicile can be acquired through nationality. So another, when we talk about in the case of a domicile, it's a place where he or she resides, right? So when we talk about residence concept here, what is mean by residence? Residence means the person where he or she lives or resides in the particular territory of a country. So in that way, residence will be again categorized into two classifications. One is a ordinary residence, another one is a habitual residence. Ordinary residence means I can just go and live any one day day, or even staying a one day in a hotel room, even for a tour with outside my country. So that becomes a part of ordinary residence. So when we talk about in the case of habitual residence, according to the law, I have to fulfill the minimum criteria period. For example, in India, we may say that 11 to 14 years, which is will be a standard of proof, or when you talk about a civil status, which will be confirmed, saying that you are a resident of that particular country. So according to law, you have to fulfill that particular prescribed time period, then you can claim for the whatever your domicile, or claim of a citizenship. When you talk about this is what the concept of a quick nutshell of the concept of domicile. Thank you.